Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Timing. It's something we really have no control over. When we fall in love, when we lose people we love, when we become parents, so many pivotal moments in our lives are dictated by sheer timing. And while we know this to be true, that life's timing is often beyond us, we also spend so much of our time either trying to control it or agonizing over how the timing just doesn't seem to be working for us. In an attempt to drive myself a little bit less crazy, I'm working on reframing the whole question of timing, whether it's good or bad. Instead, I'm just trying to focus on my direction of travel. The hope is that having a North Star of where I'm trying to get to will focus me on the present. This week's guest had me thinking about timing because her story is punctuated by so many moments where timing played a pivotal role, even if that timing was less than ideal. Only good has come from her taking matters into her own hands when it comes to timing, like striking it out on her own in business while also becoming a mom for the first time. Mica Keeney is the founder of Keeney Co, a brand marketing consultancy that works with the brands we all know and love. From Care Bears to Tiffany and Netflix, Mica's work has been recognized by her peers, winning a Ken Young Lions Award among a laundry list of other accolades. Outside of her day job, Mica writes about motherhood and all its complexity both on her own Substack, Motherhood Muses, and for outlets like Spread the Jelly. If parenting has taught me anything, it's that for some things, the timing may never feel right. But that's not a good enough reason. You've just got to go for it anyway, guided by those big goals and dreams we have for ourselves and our families. Enjoy. Mica, welcome to the closet. Your parents did you the dirtiest on how you spell your name. I have all week been saying to myself, you're talking to Mica. It's Mica, to myself.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I got into an Uber recently with my mum, and I just said, "Is this for Mica?" She was like, "What?" And I was like, "Well, what do you expect? There's no point me getting in and saying, 'Is this for Mica?' because it just comes back with a no." So yeah, thank you for learning it. Otherwise, usually it gets a really awkward.
Well, also thanks, Mom, if you're listening.
Yeah,
but it is true. The way I spelled my son's name. I thought that I was spelling it a cool way, like a traditional Yiddish way of spelling his name, and I just turns out just his name's going to get spelled wrong his whole life. So,
oh yeah, do you know my daughter's name is Maile, Maelie. We originally had I don't even know what it's called. That's how the thing in French over it.
Okay.
And which we dropped, and it has just been a bit of a disaster. I mean, a beautiful name, but yeah, in terms of pronunciation and spelling. And I told my mum I would never do what she did to me to my kid, and then I did exactly.
And if that isn't the parenthood journey in a nutshell, it's we're all really focused on avoiding the big ways that our parents fucked us up, that accidentally a lot of the small things that they did to us we just adopted without realizing because we're too busy fighting the bigger demons to realize that they also did these other things.
Totally.
Yeah. Sorry about the expired food in my refrigerator, for example. I couldn't fight that fight. We've got a lot to talk about today. For listeners, when Mica and I first talked, I heard her voice on the phone and I immediately go, "Oh my God, are you Jewish? Are you from North London?" Because your accent truly is the most comforting thing to me in the world, because that was my community when I was living there for so long. Some of my closest friends from summer camp. It's such a comforting sound to hear.
I know. I feel like I was at a drinks party on Saturday with kind of more posh Brits, and they were like, "You've kind of got this American twang." I was like, "No, it's just a Jewish English voice that you've probably never heard before."
North London, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But I love that you could identify it off the bat.
It was just "Oh, did you go to my summer camp?"
Yeah.
So okay, we're gonna get from growing up in North London to today in New York with your French husband
Mhm.
and your hard to spell child's name, which is so cute, going to French daycare. And we're going to do it all in about an hour. And there's a lot to cover. There's everything from the highbrow, talking about identity and, you know, how our lives change in unexpected ways, to the lowbrow, which is, well, sorry, not lowbrow if you're listening, Kardashians, but like I do want to talk about how they all ended up in Care Bear shit because
Oh,
so
yes.
exciting.
Yeah,
I've never been
iconic.
more invested in Care Bear's journey than I have been since I met you. Now I'm constantly seeing where Care Bears are popping up, like with Ariana Grande on this press tour.
There you go. Well, that is the point. We are bringing, well, they never left, but we are bringing them back in a big
Well,
way.
I mean, I feel like our generation is the nostalgia generation. I mean, I guess every generation
Totally.
is, but we just have really good shit to be nostalgic about.
Honestly, this may be where the American UK differences come
Well,
in.
this is so my husband grew up sort of as an international kid and he moved to the US when he was
Right.
9 and he's American, but he was like felt so left out of culture because he got here and he didn't know any of the
Hmm.
same cartoons. He didn't have any of those same like cultural touch points.
Yeah. Oh, my husband has a similar story because he learned, well, his parents were British, but he grew up in France, and he says that once he got to uni at the age of like, yeah, like 18, so like more or less like older teenager. They called him MTV Joe because he'd learned all his like language and references by just watching MTV, which was but he was like desperately trying to, fit in and learn the cultural
Good for him.
references.
I don't think my
Yeah.
husband ever made that effort, which
He
says a
tried.
lot. But okay, so growing up, you are oldest sibling energy, right? You have a
Exactly.
brother.
Yeah, I'm an older sister. I have a 3-year younger sister, Tara,
Hey Tara.
and we're super close.
Sweet.
Yeah, hi Tara. She will definitely
She's
be
doing cool
listening.
things too, right?
She's doing amazing things. She is doing a founder series on, well, across social media where she's interviewing, yeah, some of the top founders. And she said it recently, and it's definitely the case, and it describes her perfectly. It just has been born out of relentlessness. Like, she is getting the founders of Duolingo, WeWork, Shazam, Spotify, all the rest of it, just from being relentless.
I think I had like a weird crossover moment when you meet people on the internet, as we have met, and then
Mhm.
you sort of like the algorithm starts serving you things. I follow Simon Squibb, and
Yes,
she was talking to him, and I was like, am I getting this because I follow Simon Squibb, or am I getting this because this is Misha's sister? I don't know.
I love
But also, wait,
that.
what
Oh,
is her
that's
actual name?
amazing.
Because her is her
Tara.
full name Tara?
Tara Keeney,
And
yeah.
how do you spell Tara? Okay, so
Tara.
your parents learned a lesson. Okay.
Yeah,
I just didn't
yeah,
know if it
I
was going to
know.
be like Taraugh.
Yeah, exactly. No, just she's straight
Sure.
Tara.
Okay.
But I
That is
love that you saw that.
well that's yeah, I saw that because I mean, I love Simon Squibb.
Yeah,
He's got a real
legend.
POV. I want to be the Simon Squibb of the mother space and just like go out on the street and ask strangers questions about parenthood.
Well, when she's here, you should be interviewed,
I mean,
or when we're in the same
yeah,
place.
exactly. Come on over, Tara.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you grow up, you give strong older sister energy, in part because you are just such like a hard achiever and you're a go-getter and you're like very
Mhm.
specific about what you want and what you want to do. And I feel like, do you feel like you identify as an older sibling?
Yeah, I think that it's been an interesting one as we've like gone through our like relationship together. I definitely was the older sister when we were growing up in terms of bringing her out with me. My parents were relatively strict with being able to do certain things, but as soon as I was able to get my ears pierced, she was able to get
Yeah.
her ears pierced. As soon as I was able to go out like partying, she was able to go out partying, and I was always the one kind of looking out for her. And I love being an older sister. I think it's the best thing ever. It's been interesting as I've now then brought a new baby into the mix, because just trying to really understand that new dynamic where she is no longer the only baby that I
Yeah.
have. So yeah, but I absolutely adore being an older
Does she
sister.
like being older sistered?
She likes being older sistered. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're on the phone like 10 times a
That's
day.
the best. best.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think me moving away was definitely tricky on
Yeah.
her, but I mean, she comes and visits as much as
There's a lot of
possible. So,
founders in New
and
York
that's
for her to bother.
exactly, yeah, she's here as much as possible.
And let's see, other stereotypes of oldest siblings, especially daughters. Do you have anxiety? Are you a high anxiety person?
I am not a high anxiety person, or at least not like I don't think I'm a high anxiety person. And then it shows up in different ways. Like I remember I read psychology at university at college, and like in the book of like figuring out what you might have, it's like okay, if you bite your nails, pick your head, this and pull out your hair, this and that, and I was like, oh shit, like the signs are saying I
Yeah.
do, but I don't think I would define myself as someone that has it, if that makes sense.
100%. I thought I was the chillest
Yeah.
person in the world, but
Yeah.
turns out I was just internalizing everything and putting it into my
Yes.
stomach. But I
Yes.
thought I was cool as a cucumber. So,
Yeah, that
both
sounds familiar.
things could be true. Jewish
Exactly.
stomach.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grow up as an older sister. You mentioned your parents are kind of strict. What does that look like for you? Is it curfews? Is it clothes? Like where are they drawing the line?
Yeah, I think in fairness, they wanted us to be children for as long as possible. I feel like it came from a good place. And I mean, my sister and I, like, we love partying, going out, being social. And I think they wanted to like instill family values in us as much as possible. Like if it was Shabbat dinner on a Friday, you can only go out after that happens. If we were on family holidays together, vacations together, you can't go out every single night, like with different people you meet. But also, I think my dad was quite traditional when it came to like me starting to meet boys and have boyfriends and like wanting to like going through kind of that puberty, like kind of coming of
Yeah.
age phase. Like I remember at bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, which happens when like kids are 12, like I was the one in the long dress. I wasn't allowed to wear the short black dress and definitely wasn't allowed hair straighteners or makeup. And I mean, all I did was go to friends'
Sure,
houses and,
obviously. Yeah.
obviously, but there was definitely that kind of vibe until there wasn't. I think once we became
Well,
like,
at some point you just don't have any control anymore.
yeah, they gave up. They completely gave up. But
Are they
yeah,
British as well?
yeah. So my both British, both from Manchester. My dad actually passed away,
Sorry.
so but not well, coming on 10 years
Wow.
ago now. But yeah, both from the same place in Manchester, but moved down to London.
So did they meet in
And that's where we grew
Manchester?
up. They met in London, sorry, but like knew all the
Well,
same
that's
kind of
wild.
people.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then we lived there. Yeah, the
Manx.
whole Manx,
That's a whole
exactly.
other subculture. I don't know about Jewish
Yeah,
Manx subculture, but Manchester is absolutely its own culture unto a nation.
totally,
Okay,
totally.
so it sounds like you grew up in an environment that put a high value on like doing well in school, achieving, right?
Definitely, my it's funny to me. My school was my school. My uni was my. I mean, I knew my uni was something different, but my school was my school. I was there from age 4 to 18, all girls day school, um, and the first girls like independent girls school in the country, like a pioneer in women's education, founded in 1850. Like we were kind of like told all this over the years. Um, and it was very academic. Like to put it into context, I think 70% of the kids applied for Oxbridge, which is like Ivy League status, and about 30% got in. And it's amazing. I had a really good time there. I feel like luckily the academics didn't like trip me up necessarily. I could kind of get through it, but it was definitely like instilled in you in a great way, that kind of female empowerment and ambition type of vibes, which then, yeah, was definitely carried through to Cambridge where I ended up.
Now, when you were in school, were you one of those kids who was like, I was very focused on getting my A. Like I
Yeah,
wanted an A across the board. I wanted to do great in the exams. And I knew stuff that I liked, but I wasn't like prioritizing giving that so much more airtime because I was more focused on making sure I got A's across the board. Did you know what you were really into, or were you just trying to make sure you were achieving?
I think it was, yeah, just that sense of achievement, because that's what was, yeah, fostered around us. And when we got those results, like every time we'd get A levels results or GCSE or even just like end of year exam results, you know, that was a big moment in my family. That's when we celebrated and got gifts, and less so on birthdays. And obviously it wasn't, I mean, it all came from a good place, but that was what was really celebrated. So it was just like, yeah, what can I do well in, and what can I get the grades in, essentially? Probably at the expense of them pursuing other hobbies and passions and that type of thing. But also there were they did offer more like creative options, but you kind of could do one at GCSE. Like if you dared do art, drama, and whatever the other
Yeah.
things are, you know, it was like, oh, really? You did one, and then you didn't take it to A level unless you were going to become that in your like professional career. Like if you were going to become an actor
Yeah.
or become an artist, that's when you do it. So yeah, it was kind of still on the academia side of things.
And then for Cambridge, I mean, it's such a storied institution, obviously. The oldest university in the world, right?
I
Or
don't
something.
even know,
Come on,
probably.
Misha.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I
So I
know.
think it is.
Yes.
I think it
Yes.
is. And very much like giving sort of a Hogwarts look and experience.
Yes.
And, you know, would you identify as any particular Harry Potter house? Were you a Harry Potter reader? I'm gonna
My
I'm gonna
husband
give you
hates
a
Florence.
Ravenclaw.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
you're gonna.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I feel like that's like a dorky
No,
one.
first of all, I'm a Ravenclaw,
Oh,
bitch. I'm just
okay,
kidding.
fine.
No, Gryffindors, I feel like, and I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna shots fired to our more
Yeah.
Harry Potter inclined. Gryffindors were a bit vainglorious, I think. I think they were really going for being brave as like almost to the point of stupidity sometimes.
Right.
I think Ravenclaws are thoughtful,
What's the
analytical.
one that Harry's
What?
in? What's Harry's
Gryffindor.
one? Oh,
Like
Gryffindor.
like
Okay.
he was doing stuff that it's like, really? Should a kid be doing this?
Okay,
Granted,
yeah.
like, I mean, he had a little bit of a special set of circumstances. I'm just saying. I mean,
Straight over my head, but I can't wait to tell people that you thought I was a
yeah, first of
Ravenclaw and
all,
get
you
the
should tell people
reaction.
that. And second of all, I might have to start asking everybody that question. That might be as important
Yeah,
as the
it's
birth
good.
order question.
Yeah.
But Cambridge comes with like a lot of prestige, a lot of pressure once you're there, right? And similar to the
Hmm.
Ivy League experience. And you said you studied psychology.
I studied social sciences, so it was a blend of, yeah, psychology, politics, sociology, and then there was some social anthropology
And
thrown in there as
and what did you
well.
think you were going to do with that?
I had no
Sure.
idea. It was that moment where it was all kind of gearing towards like grades, 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 and then you leave uni and you're like, hang on, I have absolutely no idea what to do with this. And not only that, but I feel like I'm done with education. Like actually pre-Cambridge, I was probably like, oh, I want to be a lawyer. That might be the thing that I'm trying to explore. But once I got to that end of final year, I was like, hell no, like I'm not doing any more education. And I chose PR instead.
And when you looked around at your peer group, was it the kind of feeling that like everybody's going to go on to really do something? Like, do you feel like that there's that sort of communal pressure that everybody has to prove that they got their spot and are going to use that spot for something?
There was a moment, and it's funny you bring that up, that I mean, I took it seriously, but I was an 18-year-old who just left home for the first time. You know, I was like, I was excited. And I feel like I didn't show up to one of my tutorials or a few successive, like tutorials in succession. And one of the girls said to me, like, you know, like a lot of people missed out for this spot and you need to start taking it more seriously. And I feel like you don't really understand what you've got. Um, and it was an interesting one. I'm too young to really even understand. I didn't even really understand what that meant. Now I look back on it and I do get it more. But I feel like at that point in time, I don't know, there was that kind of collective energy that we were at somewhere like really important and you need to focus and do that. It just is it's a crazy age. You're young.
I've actually never been in 7 years in the UK. I never once went to Cambridge for anything.
It is stunning. My husband's family live near Cambridge, and I remember when I was there, again, like a 19-year-old and family would come and be like, "How beautiful is this place?" I was like, "I would want to be in Nottingham or like in the middle of nowhere in Bristol because that's where all my friends
Bristol's
are and that's
cool,
where the
to be fair,
parties are
yeah.
happening." I was like, "I don't care that it's pretty." But then we went back and I took my kid like earlier this year, and it is absolutely stunning. And the fact that I didn't realize that, or I just didn't care
Yeah.
about it at the time, is a travesty. Like it's
If that isn't
unbelievable.
a metaphor for aging in general, I don't know what is,
Yeah, I
truly.
know,
It's
I
like we don't
know, I
appreciate,
know.
like, our ripped bodies that work super well when we're young,
Oh, I
and then
know, I
now if I have to
know,
get up off the floor more than 5 times in the course of 15 minutes, I just wanna die.
I know.
Okay, so you go into PR after. Where
Mhm.
in this storyline does your husband enter the picture?
Not yet. PR was still in London, and he enters in New
Okay, we'll get
York.
back to him then. So we're in London,
Yeah.
we're doing PR, and are you just like living your sort of fabulous post grad life dreams?
Totally. It was an epic first job. Like I couldn't have been happier with working with amazing people. My clients were, it was kind of all luxury lifestyle. So a lot of hospitality. It was Verve, or how do you say it? Veuve Clicquot.
Don't
How
ask
do you
me,
say
you got the
Verve Clicquot?
Frenchie in your house.
I know. I feel like the Americans say Verve Clicquot
Ask
in a different
Maylee, she
way.
knows she's at French school.
Yeah. It was Belvedere, Annabelle's, if you're familiar. It's like the
Yeah.
only club the Queen ever went to. Victoria's Secret fashion show when it came to London. It was like, it was just epic, epic brands. And I absolutely loved it. And then they decided to build an office over in New York. And I like caught wind of it. And I was like, I have to join you and be there.
What was it about New York that called to you?
Oh, I feel like I'd been here a couple of times, and I felt like I just was desperate to explore something new. Um, Even though I didn't like grow up in the center of London, I knew London very well, and I was like, I just need to try something different. And I also think, and only do I now really think about this or like upon reflection, but my parents got divorced around that time, or were getting divorced around that time, and
Mm,
my dad got sick, and maybe subconsciously I did want to like get
yeah.
away, but I do not. That's not part of my story, which is interesting. Like that is not how I think about it, and not necessarily definitely the reason why, but it all makes
Yeah, there
sense.
are so many my whole childhood, I was dying to get out of where I was from, and if you had asked me
Yeah.
then, I wouldn't have been like, "I'm trying to escape toxic family dynamics and my parents' divorce and whatever." Like, I wouldn't have ever really articulated that. I was just like, "I wanna go to the
Right.
big city. I wanna make something
Yes.
of myself." And now looking back at it, it's like, "Oh, I don't of course I didn't wanna be there." It was really sad and, like
Yeah, it was
yeah,
tough. It was tough. You know, Kelly Clarkson
yeah,
Breakaway, it's like,
yeah,
oh, I was like, "Oh, I need to go, I need to get away," and, like, from this small town life, even though at that point I was living in the center of London, but it was just like New York was it.
100%.
New York was it.
And now you've been there for how many years?
10
Yeah,
years.
so
10 years, it's crazy. I just got my green card, which is
huge.
amazing. It's been a long,
And
old road, yeah.
congratulations, because turns out they're not
Thank
giving those things
you.
out pretty
No.
easily.
No, it took a minute as well, but yeah, it feels good to
And
have it.
so on this journey, you're the child of divorce, you lost your dad pretty early. Are you thinking maybe one day I want to have kids like on this path? Especially because like when you go to the achievery high school and you go to the achievery college and then you're thrown into this super fun nightlife filled kind of profession,
Mhm.
where like is this something that is percolating in the background anywhere?
Yeah. I mean, not in the immediate, but I knew it was never a doubt that I um, wanted to have kids. That was always
For sure.
my path. But I don't think I quite realized what that meant, and I don't think I quite like ever thought when and the impact that would have. But yeah, it was like in the far off for
One day.
sure. One day.
And when you were doing when you were like kind of starting into PR, did your parents understand what this profession was and were they excited about it?
They were super supportive. It's funny. I have had commentary over the years of, oh wow, you got a first class degree from Cambridge. Like that isn't necessarily the most like kind of this sort of snobbery way of looking at PR, and I feel like I really loathe that. It is been something that really opened me up creatively. I feel like it has like gained me so much confidence and so many skills that I don't think I would have necessarily got from a more like academic job, whatever that means. So, but yeah, they were really great about it. And again, like only looking back, do I realize that they could have probably said like, do you even want to consider like you could be going for a higher paid job or like off from the jump or something else, and they never questioned it. They're amazing.
And were they the kind of parents that were like, when are you going to settle down and have kids?
Not at that point. Yeah, not really. I didn't feel pressure in that regard. But then I think again, not at that point, but then once I did say I was pregnant from my mum, the like transition into like, oh, do you really think you're like, do you really want to like put so much into your work? Like, do you just want to take a beat? That kind of like reframe has been a real like, hang on, what? Like, why did we go to that school, get that education, be put on this path of this achieve? And obviously, it's giving the best opportunity for your kids. Like, I totally understand it. But then to like have it's a 12-year career to be like, don't you just want to be a mum now? It's really trippy because no one really talks about it in that way. So,
My mom and I actually had a
um,
huge argument. We're super close, but we had a really big argument
yeah.
because when I was, I guess I had my son again during the pandemic in New York, and I was on my 6-month maternity leave because I was working for a British company. And I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what to do next. And I wasn't happy with the pay. And I was trying to figure out next steps. And I was applying for jobs while I was on mat leave. And she was kind of saying, like, well, don't you think like maybe you should try and find something that's not full time? Don't you want to slow
Yeah.
down? These are these years. And at the time, like she really got into my ear. And I've said to her since, and like we do have a really open relationship talking about all this stuff, but I'm like, I think it's the worst advice you've ever given me. And I think it took a huge toll on my mental health and well being because I took a step
Interesting.
back when I shouldn't have. And
Yeah.
I think that it made me a sadder person in a really important part of my life because
Yeah.
I was trying to be something that I had never planned to be before. Like it was not on my bingo
Mm-hmm.
card or my to-do list to slow down. Like yes, I knew that it was going to be hard to juggle and figure it out, but so from now on she's like very respectfully learned to keep her mouth shut. And
Yeah. And also times are
yeah.
different. Like, and we are constantly seeing what everyone else is doing. Not that it should be us
Yeah.
again, it shouldn't be that way, but I do think there is and obviously like what we can achieve with whilst being, again, it's different times. So it is, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting
Yeah, and
one.
I like replay my childhood now sometimes and I'm like the same time you were cheerleading for me to be, to succeed and do well, you were also kind of subliminally teaching me how to be a housewife. Like when I think about like how I'm the
Interesting.
holder of the family's recipes, how I do all of the cooking for the holidays, how like I'm really into entertaining. I don't begrudge those things. I love that part of my personality, but it's like my brother wasn't doing any of that. Like he wasn't being
Right.
trained to be keeper of the mandel bread recipe or whatever the fuck it was. And
Yeah.
so I feel like when I met my partner or my husband, like I got confused about which parts of me I was supposed to show him also. Like, am I supposed to
Right.
show you that I know how
Right.
to be a homemaker or
Right. Yeah, you don't want to give too much away and how much you meant to stand your ground. I think the one of the most like surprising moments with my husband and I, which happened, was when, and again, I took 10 weeks, sorry, after having my kid. I'd like recently started, like gone out on my own, like started my own thing. And I was like, I want to keep at it. Like, I want to keep at it. And he said, if you want to take a pause and like stop for a year, obviously you don't have like eligibility for maternity, but I can cover you, like we're good. And I was so
yeah.
offended. I felt like he was just really like putting me down. It felt so derogatory. And I mean, I went at him, but you know, really it came from a good place, but I do think there is this like tension of what we think we should be, and then we don't know how to reconcile that with what we've learned or what we maybe want to do. And it is just, it's a really confusing time right now for women who've been grown up to really like go for it as a career and like almost like think that that's, or know that that's the way you earn respect, or have that in your mind that that's the way you get respect, and then try and unlearn that and see that actually mothering deserves as much respect. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
genuinely have to do, like, I cannot spend every day, all day with my children. I can't.
right,
It is worse
right,
for them. It is worse for me. I
right.
can't. And I love them and I cherish the time I do get with them and I do try and prioritize it and be present. And also, I have friends who were absolutely built to do that and they love it and they're
Hmm.
so good at it. And it's just not me. I can't do it. I don't want to do
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And I don't think it makes me a less bad mom because I don't want to do it all the
No,
time.
no, I think there's what I've tried to figure out in my work is like, okay, what is it that I'm getting from the work? Like, and ultimately I want to be intellectually I mean, obviously income and, you know, that kind of thing, but separating ego and thinking what is good, am I going to bring into being a good mom? And that's that like intellectual stimulation so that I can kind of get that part checked so that I can then, you know, play with my kid and be playful and not have to think about anything like that. And I think that's where I've tried to like really hone in. And it is like figuring out what is it about work and the achievement that you
Yes.
love to then, yeah, like not just also then continue on that workaholic path, because that is where I was going for
Yeah.
sure.
And it's totally well said. It's such a good point of like figuring out like, well, what buckets do I need to fill in my life? And I cannot get all of those from my children. So where am I going to get
Yeah,
them from?
yeah,
Now
exactly.
you move here with your old company.
Yes.
And then at some point you decide you're going to do your own thing.
Yeah, so I worked for my old company, well, for a long time. And then I eventually got my green card through marrying my husband. That's where he kind of he comes into it a bit before that. And then I was able to, because obviously your visa's tied to your work before that. So I could then actually start my own thing after, yeah, like 8 years of being here, which felt
Amazing.
amazing.
Now, how do we meet your husband?
We met my husband because a good friend of mine came out to visit, was staying with her brother. I went for dinner and met them, and then the brother is my now husband. So my friend is my sister-in-law, which is
That's epic.
unbelievable.
Was she like gross, Misha? That's
Epic.
disgusting.
Yes, yes. She still can't believe it. She's like still like, I cannot believe like you fancy my brother. Like, cannot believe you think my brother is like someone you'd want to date. And I'm like, okay, we now have a kid together. But she loves it. It's the best thing ever. Like, it makes family occasions. Yeah, it's a
That is
dream.
the dream.
And we had kids within a week of each other as well.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you guys have really figured it out.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
so you met the old fashioned way, IRL. And
Yes.
besides the added bonus of having like one of your good friends potentially be part of the family, what was it about this guy that you're like, yeah, I'll really commit to this?
Well, let me tell you, I think at the beginning, it wasn't like necessarily like we met, that was it. I think we probably met 3 years before we officially started dating. But like right off the back, I think his humor, his charm, his smile, like I just found him hot. Like, and really, I met him when I was 23. So it took like, it was a situationship for a while. We both had other boyfriends and girlfriends, and then we came back together, and it was like, right, this is the time. Like, we can actually commit to this and do this, because otherwise we were too young. I feel like I'm really glad like we got whatever we needed to get out
You
of our
got your
systems so
yayas
that we
out of
could
the
come
way.
together. And yeah, exactly.
Now, he grew up in France.
Yes.
But his parents are British?
His parents are British. They were like, we want to, why not bring our kids up
Why
in
not?
France? Why would we do this in England? Yeah, it feels a much more dreamy place to be. So they moved to the south of France. He was born in Cannes. I feel like people are always like, oh my God, you're bougie. But actually, it was this like beautiful sort of remote
Yeah.
forest land where they grew up in the south of France.
So what's
And
his accent
yeah,
situation?
He good question. He has he's a pretty perfect French. Well, he's French. When he speaks French, people think he's French, and when he speaks English, people aren't quite sure what he sounds like. But no, he sounds English. He sounds like
Okay.
he's totally bilingual.
Good for him.
Oh yeah, he's not like hello, like that kind of vibe.
Okay, good.
No.
This really turns some things
Yeah.
around for me in the story that I'm telling in my head. So this is useful.
Yeah, no, he speaks like with an English
So would you
accent.
say, you said he's not Jewish. You're both British though, in terms of being raised
Hmm.
by British parents. Do you guys feel like there is still a cultural difference in your childhood and upbringing with the Jewish not Jewish thing, or does British trump it all?
I don't think British trumps it all actually, because I feel like we don't feel like British to our core, hence why we feel so comfortable living abroad. I think I was a Jew living in England. He was a sort of Brit living in France, or kind of, we weren't like just British through and
Yeah.
through. Um, so I think that's one thing we probably have in common in a way. But we both do have like, we're very, very close with our families. And I feel like that is a Jewish. I mean, listen, it's universal if you like your family, but that's what I feel like is like core to my
Yes.
Jewish family life, and he has exactly the same feelings, and like vibe with his family, which is amazing. Um, Both our fathers passed away when we were young, which is an interesting one because, again, it's not why we're together, obviously, but it definitely is a connection point that really helped me. And again, I met him like pretty soon after, even though we
Yeah.
didn't then get together for a while. But I feel like that is something that really meant a lot when, yeah, being together.
That is there's a weird thing on the pod where a lot of people who lose a parent young
Hmm.
then meet their partner soon after, whether or not like they get together
Yeah,
immediately. There's some like
yeah.
universal karmic thing there. I'm not that woo woo, but maybe I'm becoming woo woo because there's enough data points on the pod to suggest that this happens a lot.
Oh, that's interesting that it comes out. Yeah, I feel like in one of the mums like groups that I'm in, they said that once you become a mum, you realize there's this like invisible club of mums like around you, and just which you hadn't really realized before. And I do feel the same now with like the one parent club, or like, there is that kind of understanding and feeling like when someone says they've lost a parent, like you don't have to really get into it, but you just know like how it feels and what it means.
It's
So
so true. And
yeah,
I'm sure you have the same experience, but when I look back on colleagues who had kids before I had kids, there's like a
yes,
whole part of their life and universe that I never understood, tried to understand.
yeah.
Like there's just,
Oh, I went back and
yeah,
apologized. We did a lot of work travel, like did for brands, different like activations and events and all the rest of it all over the US. And I feel like I should have been the first one to put my hat in the ring, but oftentimes I was like, oh, why does it have to be me? When, people started having kids and they had other commitments, and I had a party, like I had a commitment as well. Like I had things to get to. And it's just so naive to not realize. And I feel like props to them that they didn't like sit us all down and say, do you
yeah,
understand what we're going through? Like, I'm like, wait, you did that and you were pregnant, but you just have no idea. And it is that kind of, and it's not like, sometimes now you want to say like, oh, when you have kids, you'll get it. Like with my sister, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's hard to explain it, but you'll get it. And you don't want to be
yeah.
patronizing or anything like that. But I do feel like there is this like realization of like, holy shit, you just can't even understand it until it
No. And it's
happens.
similar in parenting as well. Like when I listen to you here talk about like the early days of daycare with your daughter, now that I've had that experience and I'm doing it again,
Yes.
but I'm doing it again. So it feels totally different, but I can empathize with you in a way. And like, I totally get, like, I hope you've checked your phone multiple times while we've been on this call. Like, I get it in a way that I could have never understood before I went through it. Like,
Right.
I think that's true of people that I really look up to who have older kids than I do, who like can give me their
Mhm.
perspective because I can't know what I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just not possible.
exactly. Yeah. And even when people tell you, you still have to go through it
Yeah,
yourself sometimes as well.
there's no
Yeah.
amount of, and that's kind of what I have said to my mom before, and she I think really gets it now of just like I'm not going to do everything like you did it. And
Hmm.
also, like, your cautionary tale doesn't matter. Like, I still have to have my own
Yes,
experience, or else I'm not going to
totally.
believe. And then I can
Yeah,
eat
I mean,
later.
everyone said going back at 10 weeks is insane. And I said, no, like, you're different to me. I am fine. I also thought I'd get to my best friend's wedding after 8 weeks postpartum in remote
Sure.
Italy
Yeah.
from New York, exclusively breastfeeding. And people told me I wouldn't, and I was like, oh, I'm just not going to be that kind of mom. Like, I'm going to be way more chill than that. And yeah, shock, it didn't
Yeah.
happen. So yeah, and I figured that out the day before I was meant to fly. So you do just let the whole, yeah, anyway, but you do have to just figure out these things as you
Yeah,
go.
there's really, it's just like, it's just an extremely, to be cliche, humbling experience filled with a lot
Yeah,
of eating shit for things that you thought
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Now when you and your husband met, you had this period of sort of talking, situationship, you decide to come together.
Mhm.
Big bonus, he can help us with a green card. We love that about him.
Yes. Yeah.
And Maylee enters the picture where? Was this a now's the time, or oh, okay, we can't wait to see you when you get here, but we didn't know it was going to happen this fast? The second
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Second one. Um, Albeit realizing it happening quicker than I hoped, or quicker than I thought, I should say, is an absolute miracle. Like, and I knew that. I'd had friends that found it more tricky and struggled, and I knew that there was no way that I should be thinking like, oh, this isn't my when I thought it would happen, because it really was such a miracle. But I do think I hadn't necessarily then done the work to prepare, and that came as a quick um, like realization. Even like thinking about my social calendar over the next 3 months, my work calendar of the like events that I had and the travel that I had, and being like, oh shit, now I have to do this, or like figure it all out how I'm going to kind of get around this now pregnant.
Did you feel in the workspace at all that you, not that you were embarrassed about being pregnant, but like any concerns about how you communicated professionally about it?
I think for me, I just had the opportunity to start my own agency, consultancy, whatever we call it, and I had these big plans, and it wasn't necessarily in the immediate, like, well, yes, telling clients, but that kind of could come further down the line. But actually, just when I told friends and family, like, oh, I've made this big hoo ha and announcement, and then I've decided to get pregnant, and what does that all how does that all come, like, what does that all mean, I guess. Like, it was strange
Yeah.
timing, to have got like started my own thing like 3 months before getting
And
pregnant.
I think we talked about this. So your first, the client that sort of brought you to the US, ironically, was birth control, right? And
Correct,
then
yeah, exactly.
and then now you're in a different space where you are working with brands like Care Bears, which like couldn't be more
Yeah.
synonymous with just like the joy of childhood. Do you feel like
Yes.
your kind of experience as a mom, or entering sort of the mom space, is informing how you're thinking about your work now, just strategically, clients, etc.?
Oh, definitely. I feel like before becoming a mom, I was like, I'm never going to make like motherhood my whole personality. Like, I just that is not
Same.
for me. And now I have a I'm on a mom podcast. I have a Substack about motherhood. My main client is Care Bears for parents. It is just how it's all worked out. But rather than fight it, like, that is in my flow. Like, that's what I feel really good about. And it isn't my entire personality, but it is a core of me. And it's actually just figuring out how I can integrate that into my personality rather than fight it. But I do think it has been an interesting learning curve. I worked for some clients previously that were looking to target mums, like Bobbi Brown Cosmetics was one of my clients. And, I could come up with ideas, but until I was not the age, so I was not the demographic. And there were people on the team who could offer that advice. But like, I'm desperate to work with them again now on their mum strategy, because I could offer so much more value. And I think that, yeah, it's been such a blessing to work with Care Bears in that way.
Now, how do we get Care Bears in a room with Ariana or Chloe? Like, how do you work the magic? How does it happen?
Well, yeah, this has been it's kind of been a long journey behind the scenes, but I do feel like it is really just tapping into those authentic, like real fans of the brand, like seeking them out and then doing what we can to really amplify that and like push it even further. Yesterday, and actually a lot of it is like organic on the whole. Like yesterday, we found Channing Tatum in his like new movie promo saying that one of his favorite films is the Care Bears movie, and that has kind of come out over the years, because he is a real Care Bears fan. And then it's like, how can we foster that and just continue that relationship in the most, like in the best way? So it's just been amazing. And I feel like I've been really lucky to come in at a point as well when a lot of that has like started to bubble up.
So Channing should be looking out for some massive box of stuff coming his
Oh
way.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm like, he can come and get it from my apartment if he,
No, I'll
you
actually
know?
just give me a couple 24 to 48 hours. I can be there to help deliver the
Yeah,
box.
exactly.
Talk
Exactly.
about
No,
a
it's
committed
amazing.
dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you're in this chapter, Maylee is dipping her toe into preschool. We're starting this journey.
Yes.
We've picked a French school. We're not sure. It's a different cultural experience that will be good for her.
Yes.
Does your husband speak French to her? Okay.
Yes.
That's great.
Which is amazing.
It's a huge transition when, she's a proper toddler now, and there's a huge transition
Mhm.
when they start like spending time away from you. Have
Yeah.
you had any big epiphanies in this, short whatever week or two that she's been away of what it's like when she's not around? Because before that, was she just with you all the time and you were juggling?
I had like
Okay,
nannies slash babysitters. Like I definitely had
critical.
childcare, but it is a difference in. I had this moment last week where she used to be in the apartment or going out to play, but on the whole she was here. And I got back to my apartment and I was like, right, where should I go and work, like what cafe should I go to, all the rest of it. And I was like, hang on, I don't think I've ever been in my apartment by myself. Like we moved in about 4 months ago and my husband's here, my kids here, the babysitter's here, like all the rest of it, at least for like a stretch of time. And I was like, oh my god, I'm just gonna chill in my apartment.
Luxury
um Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Even now, like I'm in my apartment by
on a phone
myself. I
call.
can't believe it. On a phone call,
Wild.
uninterrupted phone call.
Wild. And with your husband, he goes to an office?
Yeah, he's in the
Did
office
I
five
make it up?
days a
He's in
week.
finance?
Yeah, he's in finance. Yeah.
And do you guys, because he is in a more sort of like predictable, he's gone 5 days a week in the office, his like remit for his job is probably relatively well defined, hours, additional commitments, whatever. You are in the building phase of like building your business. You have a young kid at
Hmm.
home who it requires different things. Have you guys
Yes.
like had a sort of specific discussion about who's responsible for what and how all that works?
Yeah. Having a baby was our first responsibility together. We don't own a car or a house, never done a project. Like this was our first,
Joint
yeah,
venture?
well, joint venture, exactly. And it took me a while to like come round to how things made sense to flow. But I love planning. I like the admin. He hates it. He's not very good at it. I am good at it. But I felt this like, we need to split it. It's not cool. Like, why should I be like, just fighting it essentially? But when you sit down and like the facts are he's at the office 5 days a week working and I can be more flexible, and our baby is only a year and a half, and or previously like our baby was only 10 weeks, 6 months, whatever, and I do like that stuff. So why would I not, to an extent, not all of it, but I can figure it out. So why would I not just take it on and shape my work so that I can make all of that happen and just make life easier all
Yeah.
round?
I mean, as long as it works. I empathize with that initial pushback of just being like, wait a minute, why should this be me?
Hmm.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think there's like this false argument that people put forward around like, well, who earns more or whatever. And it's like, well, we
Hmm.
jointly decided to have a child. So like that
Yes.
shouldn't matter per se.
Yes.
But, the flexibility obviously can be such a gift. But
Yeah. And I feel like Neha Rush, who wrote The
yeah,
Power Pause, if you're
yeah,
familiar with that book, I went to one of her talks and she brought up just the idea of outsourcing. Like, what are the pain points and how can you make things flow
yeah.
easier for you? And I realized that I was bending over backwards with
Mhm.
cooking and I felt like I should cook. Now I was a mom and I'm not good at it and it just takes up too much time. So I've decided to get a delivery service. And actually, it's not even more expensive because by the time I was getting the groceries and wasting money on the groceries that I hadn't cooked and like overthinking the recipes and all the rest of it, and with my time, it has just like freed up so much and like alleviated so much pressure on my husband and I. So I do think there is like, often people think, okay, outsource, I need someone to look after my kid. But there are other ways of getting support that aren't necessarily obvious. And it is just thinking about like what is causing you
My
drama
challenge,
and
Misha, is more
angst.
just with the patriarchy rather than the outsourcing. Like
Yeah.
I have so much help and I am so fucking grateful for the help I have. I have a housekeeper who comes
Yeah.
3 half days a week. I have an au
Oh,
pair.
nice.
My kids are so I have
Yes.
so much help. And also there are things that I want my husband to do because he fucking signed up for this too. And there's no
Yeah.
reason that I want him to do it. And yes, I could figure out some way to have somebody else do it, but I want him to do it on
Yeah.
principle.
Like it is you.
And
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
can, that is what it is.
Have you heard of the playing card? There's the playing cards fair
Biggest fight of
game.
our life was that thing.
Yeah.
Biggest fight.
I've like got it saved, ready to go. I'm like, I've not yet done it, but that's
Listen, Eve
funny.
Rodsky, if you want to come on the pod and talk to me about workshop how
How
it's
it can
supposed
work.
to go. But what I ended up actually doing, we ended up doing recently was I just had Chat GPT give me a comprehensive list of all tasks
Yeah.
related to the home and the children.
Yeah.
And I went through and like proposed what are the things he's going to wholly own and take over. And like we just like had a meeting about it. The thing with the cards is it can make somebody else feel like shit. Because yeah, I do own most of the
Mhm.
cards. That's fine. I
Yeah.
know that. But he's seeing
Mhm.
what he's struggling to do and achieve all day long in his tiny little pile. And it's just like, well, that doesn't feel like it connects. Depending on the person. It's a cautionary tale of the fair play.
Don't bring it up. Yeah. Keep it in. Keep it locked
So
away.
now that
Okay.
is the plan that Maylee will start doing more daycare. Or are you going to keep it at 2 days for now?
So it's 2 days with a babysitter looking after her on a Wednesday. And I feel that feels right for now. I mean, one commitment I've made to my family is that I'll come home for like a month stretch at a time. And Joe will join us when he can, like with his work. But again, like there is a sense of me being flexible so that I can also have Maylee be with her family and like all of my friends at home. And that's another piece of the puzzle. Like when I have it in my bones, like I want to work full time, I want to grow my agency, like this is my focus. But then there's other things where I'm like, hang on, no, I really want to be able to have that time, at least in these early years where I can go home for a stretch. So all to say, I'm keeping it relatively fluid and only committing to 2 days whilst I like until we get back in January. And then we'll see. Let's see how she
Oh,
gets
that's
on.
so cool to be able to have a big
Yeah.
chunk of time at home like
Yeah, I
that.
can't
Oh my
wait.
God. It's
I can't wait.
so much fun. Now, you have asked me a question that I'm going to ask you, which was about milestones in your motherhood. You asked me, and
Hmm.
whenever it'll come out, we'll put a link in the show, wherever, somewhere. For you, what do you feel like has been the biggest milestone for you in your motherhood now that you're a year and a half ish in?
Ugh, I feel like meant to say something really meaningful, but
No.
honestly, I
Did you read mine? It
just
was like
got
taking the dog out
yeah,
with the kids
yeah.
together.
I feel like the trips that I've been on without my kid, obviously the ones with my
Yeah.
kid, amazing family time, whatever. But I really did, I breastfed for 8 months. Like I don't have much family, I don't have any family. We don't have any family in New York, and I thought we would never do a trip alone again. Like I just couldn't see it happening. Like when you're in the depths, and also my kid didn't sleep for like a long time. I didn't know if anyone would want to have her like overnight. Anyway, at the year mark, we took a trip to Ibiza, my husband and I, with some friends who were also parents. It was like the two couples. And it was the most amazing time ever. Like there was a lot of pre-planning that went into it, obviously. And I'd stopped breastfeeding by that point, and I just feel like that connection point between my husband and I was just, it was so brilliant. And it really did feel like, oh my goodness, we can be these parents and like have that time together. Because I do feel like when my kids around, we are parents. Like we like being parents, and yes, we can get babysitters, but we're still like thinking about Maylee and stuff. But actually when we were away, we just really like entered back into like how we used to be, but in a new way. And I feel like that was,
Did it take a
like
little
a
bit of
real
like
nice
momentum when you got there to remember how to be?
Yes, we in the taxi on the way, we were both like FaceTiming her and all the rest of it. When we first got there, I don't know, it was a funny like first bit when we were like, okay, no, we can't speak about our kid. We can't speak about our kid. But yeah, by the time we'd really like got to dinner, we were like, who? No, it was really good. It was really good.
And so now looking forward, you have started the Substack where you're not only writing yourself, you're getting, friends, people to contribute as well. And so you have this creative outlet, you're contributing writer with Spread the Jelly. You're like kind of in your creative girl era also.
Honestly, it's so nice to hear that, because I feel like it was something I felt that I didn't necessarily have, or at least wasn't pursuing, because it was just all work hard, play hard. Like that was my MO in New York. And I feel like becoming a mum has I've added another thing into my life as well as becoming a mum, but with intention. And I feel like I just feel so great. Yeah, I feel so grateful to have that outlet. Substack is epic.
It is good. And you know what? Sometimes we can just do things and write things and make things because they're important to us.
Yes. Yeah, that's been interesting as well. I feel like I started on Substack a year ago. It was definitely not in pursuit of a new audience or to monetize and this and that. And I feel like over the course of the year, a lot of brands and people and all the rest of it have been going on to Substack. And I have to like pull myself back to think, you didn't do this for that reason. Like, it doesn't matter necessarily how many subscribers you have. Like, if one person gives you a like positive feedback or opens a conversation, or how we met, like this is just incredible. Like that is what it's about. And I do feel like there'll be times where even now on Substack, I'll get a message like how you can build your subscriber growth. Like, I was like, when did that happen? Like this was meant to be the antithesis of that. So I've just got to stay grounded in the fact that it is the creative outlet and to build community and to have these points of connection. And I think, like Spread the Jelly, that came off of it as well, which was just such a dream.
Well, I'm excited for people to read. We're going to put it in the show notes for people, and anything else you want to share. I have a cute picture of you on a tractor as a kid being a quintessential British child that will also be on the Substack for people to see in the show notes. And I'm looking forward to people going on the journey with you.
Thanks.
You recently posted something about like how you still are a girl who wants to go to the club. And I look forward to the day where you do one of those things like bring Maylee to a kids club at 12 o'clock with the headphones on, because I see it in your future.
Yeah. Oh, well, we are, my brother-in-law is doing a festival next summer. He's throwing a festival, and that is the first like time where Maylee will be in headphones.
Is it in the US or the UK? Okay, so
UK.
she's gonna need baby galoshes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for
having me. Thanks, Mica. This was a blast. Team, I need your help. If you love it here, please like and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the Substack for full access to this episode's show notes and join the discussion. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Mutha, MUTHA.life for a daily look at all things Mutha. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another Chat in the Closet. This podcast was produced by Mutha Life, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time.